I caught my wife cheating on me with her ex-husband on hidden camera. Hi, welcome to my channel. Today, we've got a story from our /relationship_advice where Op caught his wife cheating on him with her ex-husband. Before we start, if you have any personal stories of relationship issues and problems that you and your significant other faced, that you want to share, feel free to email them to me. Let's get started. Original story. Had to get it out. I, 52M, lost my first wife 10 years ago. At the time, we had 2 daughters, now 21 and 24. Life went on. After about 3 years, I met my current wife, 38F. Met innocently enough. Kept bumping into her at various places around town. Never really talked, sometimes made eye contact, we would point at each other at a distance and just smile. Then one day, getting my car worked on, she walked into the waiting room, while hers was also being worked on. So we finally had a long conversation. We went across the street to get real coffee, as the service center's coffee was bad. We talked for about an hour, then I was paged mine was done. I asked if she would like to do lunch someday to continue talking, we exchanged numbers and a day to meet up. We dated for 2 years, then married. She has 2 boys, 10 and 14. They moved into my house, been living with her parents for 3 years. My girls loved her. Not as a stepmom but as a big sister. Although having another adult in the house with 2 teenage girls was a blessing. Life is grand. I love those boys as if they're my own. I want to adopt them when they can decide on their own. The little one calls me dad. But, with the oldest, it was awkward. I told him to call me what he felt comfortable with, whether that be my first name or maybe dad. The girls called her by her name. My wife is a stay-at-home mom. We decided that was fine until the kids were adjusted. Now she doesn't want to work, but does volunteer at school lunch and other things. Oldest daughter went off to college, is now graduated. The younger daughter graduated this past morning. We are moving the rest of her things this weekend. I was told her ex abandoned them about the time baby number 2 came along and has been in no contact with them, ever since. Her mom is very nice but holds me at arm's length. Her dad is an alpha dog. I don't think he wanted anyone else taking care of his daughter, only child, and grandkids. He would berate me because I was too old, not much younger than them. This would be any time I was around them. I am non-confrontational, so I told my wife I would just stay away from them. I did encourage her to continue her relationship with them, as they only live a couple of blocks away. February this year, her ex reappears, wants to be in their lives. He is sketchy at best. I cannot refuse this. He starts coming around often. I set a boundary that he only comes on weekends so as not to interfere with school and we can control his visitation somewhat. He comes most weekends but spends little time alone with the kids as we try to give him space. I asked my wife if he made any child support payments while he was gone. No. I suggested to her to talk to him about getting caught up in whatever he owes and to ask about signing over rights so I could adopt. She said she would talk to him. Beginning of March, our sex life starts to dive. You know where this going, right? But I am oblivious. I mention it to my wife, but she has the usual excuses. I notice little things around the house are different. My favorite snacks are gone, missing a few beers, not a big drinker, just one now and then. But the big one was I could smell what I thought was weed. I asked my wife if she was smoking, as we don't, but she said she hasn't. I thought, maybe the now 14-year-old was, suggested we talk with him. She says she would handle it. About 2 weeks ago 14 years old asks me if I love mom. I said yes, thinking he has a girlfriend. Time for a talk, right? He says that we always sat together and were touching each other some way or other, this made him feel good. He asks if mom loved his dad. I responded that sure on some level she does, why asking? He replies that they are always looking at each other, talking and touching. And he is over all the time. I asked what he meant by all the time. Almost every day when they get home from school, he is there and then leaves. That weekend, I'm in the living room, he is over for visitation. He comes in and sits down across from me with a beer. I look up from my reading and told him to help himself to a beer from my fridge. He says nothing. I ask why isn't he with the kids? I could hear laughing coming from the family room. He said he might go in a little bit. He offers me a beer. I tell him I will not drink in front of the kids, I wait until after they are in bed. He says nothing. He then states, you know I am only here for her, right? What does that mean? He's talking about my wife? He says technically, they're not divorced. He never signed papers, so she is his wife. I know a judge signed off on divorce because he could not be found, that's why it took longer to divorce. I finally ask about the child support, Since I never heard back. He just looked at me and said that he was caught up, paid her $15,000 in cash. What the fuck? I asked then if she talked to him about giving up rights, never asked. He asked what would it be worth to me? Maybe we could work out a deal? I said you got to be kidding, he would sell his kids? Before he could answer I told him to leave. The next day, this past Sunday, the kids were at Grandma and Grandpa with my wife. I bought and installed a camera. I put it on top of the TV, very small. Very concealed. It has a view of the front door and living room. Motion activated. Nothing unusual until Wednesday at about 10 a.m. I get an alert on the phone when the camera activates. So I am at work when I get a notice, figure it's the wife cleaning up, I look anyways. He comes back. She lets him in, they kiss, long. He starts grabbing at her, she playfully pushes away, they are laughing, no sound. He sits on the couch, she brings him a beer and snacks. 10 a.m. She disappears. She is back a few minutes later, her clothes changed, she is going to school for lunch. They are talking. More grabbing, more pushing away, laughing. A few minutes later she is up getting ready to leave. He gets up and grabs her again. Making some gestures. They sit down again, and then she gives him head. She finishes up, goes out of range. Comes back, says something, then leaves. He then watches TV, then he takes a nap. The screen eventually goes blank. A little after 1 p.m., another alert, she is home. They talk, they both leave the room. I know they are headed to the bedroom. I race home and find them. They never heard me coming. There is the hysterics you would expect. He slithers out. I tell her she has to go. She pleads it was a one-time mistake. He had just got there. She was lonely because we weren't having sex, etc. I called bullshit. I asked how often he came over, just the weekends. This was an anomaly. I showed the video of him napping. She said he was tired and asked. Then I showed her the blowjob. She had nothing to say. I told her to pack her bags, she is out. I left and called her dad to take them in, we were having issues. He of course took the alpha position, telling me how he knew I would screw this up, etc. I couldn't get a word in. Finally, I stopped him, asked again, he said yes, then started on me again. I had enough, I said I would send him something, I sent the video edited down to BJ. I told him to view and call me back if I was wrong. Never heard back. Talked to a lawyer Thursday. He helped with the estate plan after my first wife. Referred me to a partner who does family law and we will meet Tuesday. Divorce will happen. He felt but did not know for sure that I would be on the hook for support for kids, no alimony since she broke our prenup. I made it up before marriage in addition to an estate plan to protect my girls. I don't care about the support, glad to do it. It's the boys. So my question or advice needed is, has anyone else been through divorce and was able to see their ex's kids even if they are not yours? How did that go? The 14-year-old is partially vulnerable as he will be in high school next year, formative years. I don't want to see him go down the tube and turn out like dad. Thanks to all in advance. Before we take a look at some replies by other Redditors, take a moment to like the video to show your support to the channel. Don't forget to leave your own opinion on the story in the comments down below. Now let's look at some comments. Pick Me Cool Name wrote, I'm sorry this is happening to you. I, unfortunately, don't have any real advice except for getting a lawyer and listening to them, which you're doing. But you are a really good guy for sticking by those kids. I know they're not your responsibility, but they will need a good man to look up to, and they have that in you. They may not understand right away, they may even be angry at you in the beginning because they don't have all the facts, but they will one day and they will be grateful. Best of luck, Op. Mobiak wrote, I'm so sorry. This sounds awful. I have a feeling that your wife was hiding him for longer than you think. But what kind of trashy family is giving you shit when their daughter is the one that messed up? Unfortunately, you got caught in a situation that had relatively been risky from the start. May I advise you not to give her any money. She won't utilize it for the boys. She will most likely spend it with that joke of a man. Superhero Stitch wrote, given the age of the kids, it's likely that they can participate somehow in the divorce and custody conversation and give their preferences. Some mediations give the kids their own time alone with the decision maker to say their piece. Sounds like the kids are bonded to, so don't lose hope that you'll still be a big part of their lives. Deleted wrote, you aren't in any position to generate security for the boys. They had you in their lives. Are influenced by your love and may even come back to share their lives with you. Maybe. You can do nothing more. She will try to keep you in their lives, but not for them. Any money you give her will go to clothes, drinks, a car, what have you. Offer to buy their school clothes. Take them shopping. Cut off the tags and keep the receipts. Offer to take them out to eat once a week. Just them. Stay in their lives only if it's on your terms and she benefits nothing. She is a lying shitheel and will continue to try and manipulate you. You'll get no support from her family. Those boys are going to have whatever life their mother gives them. That's just the way it is. Sorry. PT Porkchops wrote. If you want those kids to have money, do not give it in payments to your ex. Her ex will be the main beneficiary of that money. Start a trust fund for them if it's that important to you, or purchase the things you want them to have yourself. The father isn't going to care for them, he was only there for her, remember? I'm sure unless she uses them as a power play against you, it wouldn't be hard to continue to see them. Lastly, as far as still staying in contact with the boys go, if you have made an emotional connection to these kids in any way, they will want to continue that. Deleted, wrote. Big yikes, I know you got close with her kids, but you have to get away from that toxicity. Best of luck with the lawyer. You got yourself a great liar, and without this video proof she would deny, and probably convince you that it was you sucking him off. Liars hate concrete proof. Be prepared for her trying to destroy that evidence and maybe sprinkle in some invasion of privacy crap. I love how you stepped up and embraced her children, and they have welcomed you as well. That alone should have been enough for her to see she has a good guy now, but you can't tame a sneaky liar who gets off on making up lies on the fly and also loves to be some other guy's sex toy behind your back. Some people love that role. Fucking power move to send that guy a video of his daughter blowing a loser. It sucks, man, but you will be fine. You aren't a loser like half the pussies on this sub who refuse to stand up for themselves. Take pride that you are not afraid to do what needs to be done. Per_female orgasm wrote. Talk to the kids. Tell them why you think is appropriate, and tell them that you love them and it's not their fault if you think that's appropriate, especially the kid that told you about it. Tell them that they will always have a place with you and that you still want a relationship with them if they do. Sorry about the whole situation. Stay strong, dude. Be sure to tell your daughters what happened too. Sorry, this has happened to you. Breathe, you are already on the right track. She has left and you should meet with a lawyer, and summer will start soon. During break, settle things first about the divorce, then speak on the 14-year-old custody. Think about the responsibility and see if you want to commit to raising this kid, and better yet co-parenting with those two. It would be for about 4 years and could be an informal agreement. Good luck. Bedtime Shine wrote. No bro. She's gotta go. The way she let him just disrespect your entire existence like that. That's worse than cheating. Sucking his dick is one thing. But sucking his dick in your chair, while drinking your beer. Nah. The amount of disrespect on top of the cheating. There's no going back. Doing shit your fucking bed. The kids are her responsibility. All the things you are worried about with her boys are all things she should have been worried about. If you feel you must, start them a college fund or something. But after that, you need to be no contact with everybody. U/C Magu wrote. Maybe you could directly give them money if you wanted to? Or create a savings account for them they could use when they turn 18. Giving it to your soon-to-be ex-wife would be a bad idea all around. Especially when the kid's dad could have access to it through her. Anyways, I'd get into contact with the boys again first. See if you'd be able to keep seeing the kids. Also, you might want to keep an eye out for potentially dangerous situations or a bad environment the boys could be placed in. Drinking and smoking weed is not a good sign, and if their dad keeps coming over to do that, amongst other things, it won't be a good environment to let the boys grow up in, and even grounds to call CPS if she allows him to do that around the kids. Legal advice is needed in this case, not only regarding the divorce but also regarding the kids. Don't pay a penny to her though. Don't give her any access to it. Maybe you can agree with her and the boys so you can keep seeing them if they want to. If there are any grounds to want to take them out of the situation they are in, which I think there are, seek legal advice and perhaps file for custody. U/LilyMees wrote. You were a good man to take on a single mom who was dumb enough to have kids with this big of a shithead. And she was still dumb enough to betray you for him after you've given her and her children a life they never would have had otherwise. I blame her idiotic parents for causing the psychological damage that leads to this type of behavior. You are an amazing person for still wanting to be there for her children. I hope it works out with yourself and the kids. What do you think about all of this? Did Op handle this situation the right way? Also, do you think Op will ever be able to heal from his wife's betrayal? Lastly, do you think this will affect Op's relationship with the two boys? Let us know in the comments down below. If you liked the video, subscribe to the channel to see more videos like this. Hit the notification bell to make sure you never miss an upload.